Let's start with Marco Malcolm Halemsharyan's word. He says, "The oud makes me glad even when I am sad. It tells me wonderful stories of people who are forgotten and should not be." And that's my question. Why did you make this collection album? Is it for these wonderful people of first generation Armenians in the United States?
Jem, I agree that what Marco Melkon said is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I feel that way about the oud also. When I have a problem in my life, I go to my instrument and it comforts me and it tells me stories. So I agree with Marco Melkon. But about this project, you know, I've been collecting these old records, or you say taşplak, since I'm a little kid. I mean, 5 years old, 6 years old. Because, of course, I was not thinking intellectually, why am I collecting what? All I knew is when I heard those sounds, I got very excited. I loved it. I did not understand the history or the politics. I just knew that, oh, I love this music so much. So the project really is because Mr. Hasan Saltuk said, Ara, we know you have a big archive. And of course, you know, Kalan has always been interested in these things. So he asked me to put together a big collection of Armenians in America on taşplak. And I was so excited because Kalan is such an important record company, and I knew that if Mr. Saltuk publishes it, it will get some attention. I was collecting anyway all my life. I love the music. The people in America, they were throwing these things in the garbage because the new generations were not interested. But I was collecting them. Please don't throw it in the garbage. I'll take it, you know. So I loved it, but when Mr. Saltuk said, let's publish it, oh, I felt great. Now some of the rest of the world can hear it.
Memum memum, canım memum, şeker memum, son memum.
I need some names. Which musicians were popular? Who were these people?
There were many, of course. Some of the popular names at that time were people like Karekin Prudyan, who was born in Diyarbakır and came to the United States and started making recordings. Kemani Minas is another name. And then later on, Marco Melkon was popular. And finally, in 1950, Udi Hrant came to America and started to make recordings. And this, of course, inspired so many young Armenian oud players. When they saw Udi Hrant, they wanted to be like him, you know, and this inspired generations of oud players, including myself. Unfortunately, I never got to see Hrant, but from his very first visits, we collected the tapes and we talked about the stories, and he was a very important musician here.
Yaris dune, merdanın orte,
Your father is also a musician. How the generations affect each other? How a tradition goes in United States?
For each generation, it's slightly different. The first generation, like for example, during World War I, those who came to the United States, they were just trying to find a place where they could survive and live peacefully. The second generation, like my father, they didn't have the worries of surviving, but they were now in this country and they started to get together with their fellow Armenians and started to make some music. My generation, it was even easier because my father's generation had already established the whole tradition of Armenian music in America. So I was very lucky because, like you said, my father, Ara Dinkjian, was a very popular folk singer, Armenian folk singer. I learned on the stage. I was 5 years old. I was playing darbuka with my father's orchestra. What can they say? He's the singer. He's the leader. So I had an incredible opportunity most people don't have to learn the music on the stage, make my mistakes, but learn. So it was an incredible experience for me.
You traveled to Turkey with your father, I think 12 years ago. What was the emotion? He was very happy. You can see his soul on his face. It's a wonderful moment for me as an audience.
I will try to explain it, but to explain in words that emotion is not easy, but I will try. But I must tell you that before we did that concert, I had taken my father to see Diyarbakır about 22 years ago for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
We went as tourists, not as performers.
Mm-hmm.
And because I told him, Dad, you're born in France, then you came to America, but anytime you talk about yourself, you say, I'm from Diyarbakır, I'm from Diyarbakır. And I said, Dad, you never even went. No, I know, but I know all the stories. I know everything. But Dad, we have to see it. You know, we have to go. So I just bought the plane tickets and we went. And that was, it was really incredible. I mean, it's hard to explain, but all the stories that my father had heard from his father, he was suddenly seeing it. He was actually walking the streets and touching the buildings and seeing the people and eating the food and smelling the air and the mountains and the water. And it was something I will never forget. But then Kardeş Türküler had invited us to participate in a concert in Diyarbakır. Now, look, since you asked, I will tell you. My father sings in the Diyarbakır dialect, which is completely different from any other Armenian dialect. I even have a hard time understanding it. So we go to Diyarbakır, and it's like my father had kept alive this dialect and these songs in America to bring those songs back to Diyarbakır and to sing them there. It was like saying, this dinosaur is not dead, it's still alive, look. And it's like we brought the songs back home. And it was very, very emotional. It was the most meaningful concert for us because it's like we completed the circle. We brought the songs back to where they were born.
What are the differences between the Diyarbakır music or the other locations from Anatolia? Altı Parmakyan says, if you want kef, look for the Diyarbakırs.
Yes, yeah.
I couldn't pronounce in Armenian. Dikrana
Gertsis.
Yes.
Uh-huh. In Armenian, Diyarbakır is Dikranagert.
Mm-hmm.
So Dikranagertsis are people from Dikranagert or from Diyarbakır.
Mm-hmm.
So musically, to to try to explain the differences, in Diyarbakir, most of the folk songs are in Uşak Hüseyni makam, this family, most of them. And a very important usul or rhythmic mode is jurjuna. It's a 10/8. I don't want to get too technical, but this 10/8 beat is typical in Diyarbakir, and it's not found in many other places. So just like the Armenian dialect, how it's a little different, same thing with the music. It has its own flavor and taste.
You have more than 5,000 Taşplaks in your collection.
Yes, you see some of them behind me.
Yes. And how did you make the selection?
Yes, so I chose the records for this project based on a few things. I wanted the condition of the record to be good, to be clean. If it was very scratchy, it was not going to sound good. So I wanted to make sure I had a good copy, a clean copy. I also, of course, chose songs that were good compositions and performed well. And finally, I wanted to choose recordings that were not already reissued on other CDs, so that were unheard by most people. So those were the three conditions: a good quality record, good song and performance, and also not reissued before, so that it would be a little more rare and interesting for the listeners.
I have one more question, the last question about this is now the 30 years anniversary of the Kalan Müzik, and we lost Hasan Saltık. Maybe some words for the Hasan. Maybe we can finish,
Yes.
or if you want.
No, I'm glad you're asking, because we've lost a lot of people, with this virus, with war, with sickness, with age. We're always losing people and friends. But the loss of Hasan Saltık affects, I believe, millions of people, even if they don't understand it yet. It was a terrible shock and a great, great loss for me personally. Not just because I had a personal relationship with him and because I had worked with him, but because, I've always felt that there's 5% of the people who do the work for 95% of the rest of us. Hasan Saltık was that kind of person. I believe he was looking for truth through music. And this is something that's very, very precious to us. Not too many people do this. My life is more rich because Hasan Saltık was in my life. Of course, I send my condolences to his family and to the whole Kalan family. But more importantly, I hope they can continue his good work, his honest work, because the world, I believe, is a better place for the work that he gave us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jim. Best of luck. Okay, bye-bye.